Anyhow, so we've been having some conversation around the particular statuses. As you may or may not know, the Commission on Decolonization is really built for public education around the right to decolonization, the right to self-determination, and the process to get there. But we manage the work of three political status task forces, one for independence, one for free association, and one for statehood. And so the status task forces are populated by a group of volunteers. They have an annual appropriation from the Guam legislature in order to fund their educational materials and content. And so we have been scheduling task forces to come onto the show and talk a little bit more in depth about their particular status. As you may have guessed when you listen to the show, we don't get into advocating for any one status. That's not what the commission is built for. But we do provide space for the task force leads and volunteers to help get the word out about their particular status preference. So last week we had the Independence Task Force on. This week we have statehood. Next week we will be featuring free association. So I have in studio today with me Senator Will Parkinson. He is a senator in the current Guam legislature, served in the last term as well. And you may have heard something from Senator Parkinson in the last week regarding political status of statehood or full integration. And so I extended up invitation to Senator Parkinson, and he graciously accepted. We are expecting also former Senator Will Castro, who is a member of the statehood task force. And he is scheduled to join us later today. Hopefully he'll be in here for the second block. But Senator Parkinson is here this morning, and I'm happy to have you. Thank you, Senator, for making time to come down and talk to us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We're pretty excited today because I don't know if anybody out there listening recalls, but we attempted this several months ago, and we didn't get a chance to do the statehood show because the statehood volunteers were not able to make it. We had a scheduling conflict, and so we really only did independence and free association to have their own dedicated show to talk status. And so I'm pretty excited to be able to have a conversation around integration, or otherwise known as statehood. And so before we get into it, let me just provide the listening audience with some context. Guam's law around self-determination, the process therein, is based really on models the international standard for decolonization and self-determination. Essentially, if a nation that is in a colonial relationship with their administering power, in this case for Guam it is the United States as our administering power, each of these administering powers, and there are a number of them, have an international obligation to assist the territory in the process of self-determination and support their desired outcome and transition into a fully self-governing status. So the way that self-government, or the way that self-determination is assessed, I guess is a good way to say it, is that the status, the territory must take on a status that gives them a full measure of self-government, which is why, a lot of people ask, well, why won't status quo be on a ballot? If we were to vote on self-determination, why won't status quo be on the ballot? Or even why won't Commonwealth be on the ballot? The reason why status quo nor Commonwealth will ever appear on a self-determination plebiscite is because neither of those statuses provide us with a full measure of self-government. They only provide us with the opportunity to have a local organized government, which is what we already have. What we're really seeking is the ability to govern ourselves, unequivocally, right? There's no exception. There's no unilateral authority of the administering power, which is what we have now. Currently under our U.S. unorganized territory of the U.S. status, though we have a organized and modern local government, that government is essentially at the mercy of Congress and the federal government. Congress still maintains what we call plenary power over the territories, which means then that Congress has the authority to do with the territories what they please, which is kind of to the point that you were making last week, Senator. In the address of political status for Guam, if there ever is to be a plebiscite, or I should say when there is a plebiscite, we will choose from one of three internationally vetted options. And our law says that we will choose either from integration, which is commonly known as statehood, free association with the United States. So it's designated as free association with the United States, not an open free association, or independence. Each of those statuses meet the criteria for a full measure of self-government. And so any of those statuses would be acceptable in a self-determination referendum. And of course, today we're going to be talking primarily about the option for integration, full integration into the United States. And just to start us off, for our listening audience, the technical term is full integration. Now, full integration into the United States essentially means that the people of Guam will have all of the rights and protections of the U.S. Constitution and all of the accessible mechanisms to participate wholly in the federal system, the democratic system of government defined by the U.S. Congress and the federal government. So just to be fair, full integration technically we could qualify as being fully integrated if Guam was to be absorbed into an existing state. So, for example, the state of Hawaii is an island chain, just like how the Marianas is, but each island is a county of the state of Hawaii. So, Oahu is the city and county of Honolulu. Hilo is the city and county of Hawaii, city and county of Kauai, city and county of Maui, and they're all collectively the state of Hawaii. There is a possibility, though I think slim, and I don't think anybody on Guam thinks about full integration as being absorbed into another state, but technically that would qualify as Guam attaining a full measure of self-government, because if we were to be absorbed into the state of Hawaii, what it would mean in principle is that we would have equal representation in a representative democracy, right? Which is what we don't have now. And I think that that's really the issue at hand, is that there obviously are a lot of people on Guam that, have a political or even social kind of connection to the United States. And what they desire is a full measure of government, which is essentially their participation, full and open participation in the system of government. So whenever people talk about integration on Guam, it's most commonly referring to statehood, to Guam becoming its own state as a member of the Union. So let's go ahead and get into it. Senator Parkinson, thank you again for joining us this morning. Let's just jump right into how we got here. Last week, you introduced a resolution. The focus primarily was on defense, Guam's defense concerns in, amidst this geopolitical conflict between China and the United States. I wanted to give you a chance to talk about your resolution and the intent, because I feel like there seemed to be some misunderstanding, at least as the way that it was reported, as this being a move to skirt the right to self-determination and unilaterally turn us into a state. So if I may, I'd like to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about your resolution, what the intent was, the motivation behind it, and to clarify, anything that you think is relevant in this conversation.
Absolutely, and thank you for that opportunity to do so. And thank you so much for having me on the show. It's truly a pleasure to be taking part of this conversation, because I feel this is an important conversation that needs to be had. And there is a little bit of clarifications that's necessary for my resolution, because there is a little bit of a difference between the content and the reporting on it. And no, this is not a unilateral attempt to skirt decolonization and the proper way to go about the process. This is not what this resolution is trying to achieve.
Right.
The resolution itself leaves the opportunity open for all options and pushes us towards a referendum to decide on Guam's political status in the future. That being said, though this bill does not, or this resolution does not preclude any of the options, I myself as an individual have a preferred status, and I was expressing my preferred status even though the substance of the resolution does not favor any one status over the other. It just opens the door for the discussion and a referendum to happen.
Great. I actually I unfortunately have the pleasure of being attached to this, whether I like it or not. So I got a lot of calls after the resolution was announced and there was a press conference around it. There are a lot of people who asked, who called me and asked, well, what is the intent behind this resolution if there's already local legislation that addresses the not just the right to self-determination, but the process? Do you mind talking a little bit about what your motivation was in light of the Guam's, I guess, historical stance on this issue and the work that is done prior to either you or me getting involved?
No, and one of the things I want to thank you with is you provided me with some very, very good literature that helped me really educate myself on this issue and the history of it. And I when I look at the history of Guam based on that literature, I see three distinct phases in Guam's political status history. Starting from the Treaty of Paris, when we became a territory of the United States, we were kind of in our military rule era. We have no real political power. The Navy was
Right.
basically in charge of everything. And then that kind of took us into the first decolonization era. I kind of refer to it as the Commonwealth era from the literature.
Right.
And that started with a referendum in, I believe, 1978,
Right.
where people wanted a better political status than what they had, and that led to the Commonwealth vote in 1982.
Right.
And then after they voted in favor of Commonwealth, they negotiated with the United States government up until, I believe, 1997.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 1997, the conversation stalled on Commonwealth.
Right.
And then that kind of takes us into the era we're in now. Upon that effort stalling, I believe it was the 23rd Guam legislature that created
Yes.
the Office of Decolonization. That was actually the legislature my father was the speaker of. So,
Right.
I'm very proud that he was part of such an important important moment.
No,
But,
he was absolutely a proponent for a full measure of self-government for Guam.
Yeah.
I actually got a lot of a lot of the calls and texts that I was receiving started with that context.
Yeah. No.
Senator Parkinson's dad was a very big proponent for self-government and decolonization and political status resolution for Guam, and they made sure that I was reminded about his role in the legislature in passing this particular law.
Yeah.
Which is very, I think, just for those that are unaware of the history. I know a lot of us are aware of the most current hurdle, which is the outcome of the Davis case of the Ninth Circuit Court. But to put into the context, the reason why there was a Davis case to begin with was because our legislature unanimously passed a bill into law that created the Commission on Decolonization, but also kind of laid out the parameters and the procedure for a political status referendum. Now, in that referendum, or in that bill and that became law, the legislature defined voter eligibility as those who are considered native inhabitants. Now, the challenge in the Davis case was that the term native inhabitant was being used as a proxy to discriminate against voters based on race. Now, the government of Guam legal team argued quite eloquently that the definition was never meant to be a race-based classification, but more so a time-based and political classification, which is allowed. There's a lot of precedent of how this was allowable under U.S. law. I think the most popular example would be affirmative action. Ironically, the Tamoto Land Trust law or policy was also being threatened and challenged around the same time as the Davis case. They actually came to a settlement prior to the Ninth Circuit Court rendering decision on the Davis case. And ironically, the Davis attorney team asked the judge to hold on her ruling until the CLTC case was resolved, and she declined. She said, no, this shouldn't be connected. But the CLTC case, the government of Guam won. And they won it based on the same premise and principle that was being used in the Commission on Decolonization law. And so, it's definitely ironic and kind of frustrating, I think, that the court was willing to accept a time-based political classification in regard to a land program. And really, like, that's what the settlement said. And I mean, I'm paraphrasing here, but the settlement basically was that the word Tsamoru had to be removed out of everything except the title of the land program. So it's still called the Tsamoru Land Trust Program, but it's not. Nowhere does Tsamoru appear in the procedure and in the application and of the program.
And that's relatively new, right? I believe that came out in the 36 Guam legislature.
Yeah, it came out. Yeah, right. And so we were. I think a lot of people were frustrated in the sense that it just felt inconsistent on the part of the court that there would be a consideration to address this historical injustice through a land trust program, but not to address political status. And the stance that the government of Guam had taken, the legislature had taken at that time, was that the classification of native inhabitant was defined by saying that you had to have become a U.S. citizen by virtue of the Organic Act in 1950. Now, there are a number of non-Tsamoru residents of Guam, primarily Filipinos, who were associated with the Camp Rojas rebuilding right after the war, who decided to stay on Guam after all of the construction was done. And those residents became U.S. citizens by virtue of the Organic Act, not by an act of self-determination, but by an act of Congress. And that was a whole premise that was asserted by the government of Guam, particularly the legislature at the time, in order to address the historical injustice. Now, that all kind of went sidewards after the Davis case. And now we are in a place where we are no longer allowed to deliver on the terms of our mandate through that law, at least not in its entirety. We can still engage in public education and raising awareness. We just can't set a date or register names on a decolonization registry, which was part of the mandate. And so the ball really is kind of in both the community and the policymakers' courts. On the community side, there's really only two paths forward to execute a political status referendum. If the people of Guam desire to maintain the principles of Tsamoru self-determination and limit voter eligibility to native inhabitants, then the only way that can happen is if a non-governmental organization takes on the responsibility of hosting, executing, and delivering on the results of said plebiscite. Now, if the government of Guam is going to lead the plebiscite effort, then the law basically needs to be rewritten, or there needs to be a new law introduced to lay out the parameters, the rules for said plebiscite. But essentially, the ruling of the Ninth Circuit Court was that and if you read the court ruling, the Ninth Circuit Court judge was actually she seemed very conflicted in her delivery of her verdict. And that was because she recognized that there has been precedent set in limiting eligibility, and that the historical injustice committed against the Tsamoru people and the people of Guam is very clear. There's also a very clear right for the Tsamoru people and the people of Guam to self-determine and to do this via referenda. The issue really came, or the insurmountable issue, I think, came in that the judge determined that if public funds are going to be used to facilitate this plebiscite, then there cannot be a voter eligibility restriction, and it must be open to everyone. So if either way, whichever the people of Guam and the policymakers decide, the commission, I imagine that the commission on decolonization will continue to exist and continue to play their role in terms of education and raising awareness, so that our people are making an informed choice. I mean, this is not just a random like initiative vote, right? This is a vote that we're going to lock ourselves into indefinitely, because you don't self-determine more than once. I'm going to pause real quick because former Senator Will Castro, who is a member of this statehood task force, he's also the administrator over at the our charter, one of our charter schools, and he is handling his duties on campus, and so he's not able to make it into the studio. But we have him on the line to join in on the conversation. Hafiday, Senator Castro, can you hear us?
Hey, Director.
There you are.
How are you? Senator Parkinson, how are you?
Hey, how's it going, Senator? It's great to see you. Great, good to speak to you, hear you.
It's good to be online. Listen, first of all, I owe you both and your listening audience, Director, an apology. I wish I could be there. You know how it is. Running a school, situations come up, and those priorities take precedence. So
Absolutely.
I'm so sorry.
No, we understand.
Is this a good time to weigh in? I just want to maybe drop a couple
Yes,
points.
please do.
I've been invited to the table before from former Senator Duenas and some others to participate in the discussion about political self-determination. And I'm resolved, thanks very much to you, Melvin, for pushing me forward to kind of just take that leap, right? Senator Parkinson, I felt no real compulsion to verbalize my position in terms of political self-determination. I'm not an elected official nor an appointed one. But I think the conversation needs to be had, and I was really happy to hear that you were stepping forward. I'm not sure where you're at in the show in terms of the touch points as to why I would favor political statehood as an option to our political status. Mel, do you want to fill me in on?
Yeah, we were just kind of going over the historical context. But this is absolutely why we're here. We're here to talk about status. The goal for this show really is to give each of you an opportunity to, make your argument for why you believe statehood is the best option in terms of a permanent political status. And now is as good a time as any to just jump right into it. So go ahead and lead us off, and give Senator Parkinson a chance to weigh in as well.
Yeah, right on. So, first of all, these are my opinions, right? It's not the opinion of my school or anybody that I report to in this chain of command. I put a lot of thought into this, and my position has been for at least a decade and a half. For me personally, it's full inclusion or set me free. I think that pursuing a permanent seat at the table as part of the Union of these United States would really cement our foothold in having real negotiating power, as opposed to, and for the listening audience, as opposed to being maybe ex officio, right? As opposed to members of Congress having the option to put to vote whether you're going to have the opportunity even to be recognized in committee or to vote on issues that matter. To me, it doesn't matter regardless of size of the state, or in this case, the unincorporated territory, which, for the record, I want to say, Melvin, that you guys have been doing a great job. For the record, any status is better than the current status. I think we can all agree that unincorporated territory is really is a nothing status. It's a fabrication of the powers that were at the time. It's antiquated. I think Neil Weir and everybody else has made a really good argument in terms of why that shouldn't hold. So with that said, I've thought about independence. I've thought about free association, which to me can only have been achieved. It's like qualified independence, right? It's like you want to freely associate. First, you have to be independent, but you're going to be independent, but you're going to freely associate. So for me, at this point in time, I'd like to be a state, the 51st or 52nd. I think it's something that can grant us leverage. Listen, the bottom line for me, having been a former elected official, is this. In the Congress, we've seen through tradition, through convention, that tenure commands influence. I don't want to use the word power, but time and grade commands influence, and that translates to real political power. And so we have a history of producing members of Congress to the House, 10 years, We have Wonpat, Ben Blas, Robert Underwood. These are luminaries, and hopefully Congressman Moylan can go the long haul as well. And that ultimately amounts to some senior status, whether you're the ranking member, which is a nice way of saying you're in the minority, or you're the actual chair or chair of a subcommittee.
Right.
I think with that kind of, and then I'll give the senator the opportunity and the opportunity. I think with that kind of seniority, you can have a foothold on discussions like reduce and subsidize airfare, economic development, preferential treatment regardless of size, because of our ranking in terms of the House and the Senate. And I'll leave it at that. I'll take a break. Anybody want to jump in?
Yeah, no, I think about the different political statuses, and I came to my position, not because I had a particular favor for one. Actually, in my household, I grew up with the idea of independence. My father was pro-independent,
Right.
and I've always thought about the idea of Guam. I grew up on the American mythos of them declaring their independence and what a great
Right.
thing that was.
Right.
And so I thought someday that it would be so amazing for Guam to declare their independence. It'd be like growing up just like America, and
Right.
taking that next big step. And when I was growing up, we definitely lived in a time where that was possible. But as I look at the way the world is changing in some rapid ways, changing in some very scary ways, we do not have the same luxury of choice, I think, that we did back then. And I thought about the three different political statuses too. And so, when I think about statehood, the thing that I find that's the thing that would most improve if we were to go the statehood route is because, currently in our situation, we get provided the security by the U.S. military. But statehood would get us two more important fundamental things that we don't have now: greater economic benefits and more political power to determine our destiny within the United States. So in terms of what statehood can do for us that's not doing now, those are two very important things. We
Right.
don't get full federal funding, we don't get a seat at the table, and those are things that are truly important in this time. And not only that, like, the security is really the fundamental thing for me. Statehood makes it so that the likelihood of Guam ever being attacked reduces significantly, reduces very, very much. And that's important to me. As a territory, maybe China takes a shot at us, maybe they don't. But as a state, I know with a high degree of certainty they would not take that shot. And so that's really my impetus for why I did this. And I was talking about, the different eras of decolonization we're in, and the one we're in now, it's kind of the stagnation era, right? The Davis case really put a block on our ability to move forward. And so with the geopolitical situation that we're in now, and the other thing that really encouraged me to do this is that there's talks happening in Washington, D.C. without us regarding statehood. And I do not want to be put in a position where our destiny is being determined without anybody from Guam sitting at the table.
Right.
And so that's what given me this newfound energy to pursue this, because I didn't pick this fight. This fight picked us.
Right.
This is the time in history where things are moving very rapidly and change is happening almost every day. If we could make one of those changes Guam's political status, whether it be statehood, free association, or independence, it is better than what we have now. And though I am a proponent for statehood as an elected official, whatever the people of Guam choose, I will defend that and protect that and push that 110% to the hilt.
Well, I definitely appreciate that, and that's something that I feel like in my personal assessment of kind of the aftermath of the conversation around your press conference and resolution was really focused on, well, how is this any different than what the Heritage Foundation has been kind of touting around the Hill? And for those of you that are unaware, there's a right-wing think tank called the Heritage Foundation in the United States, and all of this conversation, at least most recently, was kind of spurred by these comments that the Heritage Foundation was making around the potential of making the CNMI and Guam become one state within the Union. So basically reunifying CNMI and Guam and turning the collective into a state. which, I got to say, as much as I appreciate that the local media was covering this and, bringing attention to it, what I took issue with was that there was less focus on the comments that, especially the comments made by our governor. I talked to the governor directly about this. We discussed this at length in our regular monthly board meetings for the Commission on Decolonization. And the thing that I really was appreciative of is that the governor, for one, prioritized the right of the people to self-determine. And it was less about the status and more so about the respect for the historical injustice and the process. What was covered in the media, unfortunately, was the governor joking that, well, if this was to happen, that Guam would be the capital. They even wrote that she said this in jest, like is the caption, say she said in jest, and she laughed, which I thought was just kind of irrelevant. But that's a thing that I take issue with, and that's a thing that I think a lot of other people took issue with. And to be fair to you, Senator, I actually was able to meet with Senator the day after the resolution was put out, and that was what our conversation circled around was, is this going to be just like a direct path to statehood, or are we still talking about the self-determination process? And I'm grateful that you are, you're very open to the conversation, that you welcome the dialogue, and that we were able to kind of move past some of these, I guess, knee-jerk reactions. And Senator Castro, to your point, I agree, and I appreciate your perspective that, any recognizing the inequity, the inferiority of our current status, and that each of these statuses provide us with a legitimate path forward and a legitimate measure of full self-government, which I think is important. And that's the one thing that I appreciate and value in Guam, is that, Guam is very different from a lot of other territories in the sense that, this has always historically been a bipartisan effort. I mean, right now I have the Democrat and Republican wills on the air with us, and we're agreeing. I mean, this doesn't always happen very often, but when we talk about status, this is something that I think we have been very consistent on. Even like, you mentioning your father and his role, Will mentioned my grandfather and his history. This has always been something that we have managed to agree on and put our political differences aside in pursuit of. Senator Castro, you wanted to add something in here?
Yeah, I wanted to add just a couple points for others to consider. I'm sure many of us have gone through this thought process, right? For me, the greatest struggle, the reconciliation of my preferred political status, I've been wrestling with two things. One, my indigeneity, right? Who I am as a Chamorro, right? There is no other topic more important for me, or has been more important to me, than my identity. Would being a part of the union affect my ability to embrace my indigeneity, to reinforce my language and our customs and our traditional practices? The second one has been an exercise that's more academic, right, in terms of the economics. And hey, listen, admittedly, I'm no scholar in the area, but if you look around, and yes, Mel, absolutely, that Guam has been in a very unique position for hundreds of years relative to its strategic location.
Right.
But if you look at it from a macro perspective, and now that I actually have to I did make the conscious decision to put my foot in the pond, I'm going to make this more academic. But when you look at it from an economic perspective, so what is our strategic advantage? A deep water port? Well, the Republic of the Philippines has a deep water port. What's the discussion on currency, right? And again, there's no clear answer. This is just what I was wrestling with. One was indigeneity. The second was real economic opportunity. And the second becomes, what is the preferred method of currency? And what you still haven't come to terms with, we're going to be independent, but we're going to be greenback. Or, we're going to be independent, but we can develop other industries of commerce, of export. I still can't reconcile, especially the conversation about deep water ports as an independent nation. I mean, why would they spend $6 billion on Guam when they got the Republic of the Philippines. So the only reason why, in my opinion, and this may draw a lot of criticism, but hey, listen, I'm entitled to my personal opinion, that if they can do it, they have to build up because they can, because we're an unincorporated territory, because we're a colony and we have no recourse. If we had any real recourse, we would have taken it, wouldn't we? Right? And so the last person to do that led a valiant drive forward. He stood up for the independence of our indigeneity, maybe not necessarily independence of government. I can't speak for the late senator, who was my mentor, and he's probably the most prolific Chamorro rights activist of our common era. But the point is, if we really had leverage, right, that leverage will come. It's going to come. It's a matter of time in our political self-determination statehood or otherwise. And so those are the 2 points I wanted to bring up to you and to your listening audience. There was one, my identity as a Chamorro male, as a Chamorro. And the second one is wrestling in my mind is what's really good for me and my family going forward in terms of prosperity, right? What that means to each of us. And I can only look around left, right, up and down at the independent nation states surrounding Guam. Are they really in a greater state of economic ascension? Is that what prosperity means to you? But for me, all those things factor in. And so those are the only 2 points I wanted to do.
Well, I appreciate it, Senator. Thank you for that. Senator Parkinson, is there anything that you wanted to throw in the mix here?
Yeah, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about the process of it, because right now we talked about the Davis case really slowing it down, and we're in this stagnation era, and I'd really like to break this stagnation era.
Right.
Looking forward on where this goes, people have asking me, okay, you've introduced this resolution, where are you going to go with it? And you and I have talked briefly about this, and I agree with your plan that there's 3 steps ahead of us.
Right.
And the 3 steps is 1 is education, 2 is referendum, and 3 is negotiation.
Right.
And so the first 2 steps are actually clear. We go out and educate, and then we have a referendum. Negotiation is unclear only because we don't know what the people of Guam are going to choose. Right. Only after the choice has been made can we begin negotiation. Right. But that puts out our path really clearly. Right. And so what I would like to do, as an elected official and as an interested citizen of this island, is I would like to go out and have a series of town halls for the next year, 2 years, 3 years, the next few years, and then potentially we rewrite the law so that we have a referendum in the next 2 years and the next 4 years, whatever is the most, whatever we could facilitate as soon as possible and still do it the right way.
Right.
And and I would like to invite you as a partner in these town halls to help facilitate the discussion with the community so we could get this education out there. As far as how the vote gets done, this is a question that I get asked a lot, and this is something we talked about. I believe in the position of 2 votes, 1 path. We have problems because the thing is, I believe in Chamorro self-determination. I believe that they should have a plebiscite. But at the same time, we have constitutional barriers that are blocking us. And so I'm trying my best to find a solution that is practical and pragmatic and gets us through, but at the same time respects the Chamorro people by giving them that vote. And I think having 2 votes, one with an NGO that is Chamorro only, and then one with public funds that is open to everybody, and then we compare the 2 results. If the 2 results match, then the people have spoken definitively and clearly that is the choice. And then if they do not choose the same options, I don't see that as a problem. I see it as an opportunity to deepen the conversation and polarize the choices. Have another runoff election with just the 2 choices and see what comes of it. Because I think that this is Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Senator.
I want to weigh in on I'll let you finish, but I just want to make sure I put a bookmark there, Mel and Senator Parkinson, on the issue of the vote.
Yeah, and so I am open to any suggestions to do this in a better way that is respectful to the Chamorro people and their voice for sovereignty. This is just my best solution to the problem we currently had at hand that meets our constitutional obligation while still supporting and respecting the Chamorro people's voice. And so that's kind of what I'd like to enter into the public conversation about, in terms of practical steps, how do we have this referendum? And this is my offering. And I hope that, if there's a better way to do it, people tell us what that better way is, because I'm open to it.
Well, thank you, Senator. Senator Castro, you wanted to weigh in?
Yeah. This is actually, you brought it up. There's two wills at the table, regardless of the political partisan affiliation. But I think this is where the fork is in the road between me and my colleague there, my friend, a personal friend, Will. I agree. Ungen gusto po puti dinu permit namin sahi. It's probably better to just put the vote forward. But where we diverge, where I separate on the road is no, I don't. I think it has to remain with the tomorrow only vote, because before there was anyone else, you've heard this, I'm sure, in your talk show. We've heard it in Guam history. But why would you put it? This is not meant to be a debate, Senator Parkinson. I'm just voicing my opinion, right? So
of course, sir.
I
of course.
agree that we should have the vote. I agree, Mel. Na give an organization, to put it out there, give an organization, if it can't be the government, to have even a straw poll for the tomorrow only vote. Before anyone else can have a seat at the table, before many different peoples came coming in and making this a home, which is wonderful, right? You should have always asked the First Nation, the first inhabitants, what their preferred status would have been, if any. So I agree, have the vote, push the vote forward. If the government can't do it, have a straw poll vote. Somebody do it. But second, and I stand firm on this, that initial vote, in my opinion, from my perspective, must rest solely on the shoulders of the Chamorro people to decide for themselves which path, if any, they want to pursue.
Thank you, Senator. I appreciate that. I know that you have to get back to your duties at the school, and I want to thank you for making time to call in so that you could still participate. For our callers out there, if you're interested in getting in, I know we got Senator on the line. There are two lines in here, 922-1051 and 1052 if you can't get through on the first line.
Thank you, and I'll close. You're right. Can I just close out? Leave this to Senator
Yes,
Parkinson.
please.
Senator Parkinson, thank you for your time. I'd love to have coffee with you to see how we can advance the discussion and educating our the residents. Masif Bashad, Iman Yumuru, right, in terms of why statehood. I think now I owe it to the people of Guam, since I've vocalized my opinion over talk radio, to make it much more academic in terms of supporting information for the two basic claims in terms of preserving my indigenous identity and truly looking at economic opportunities based on history and based on promise, right, in terms of projecting forward if there's a trend line in terms of previous states and other developing nation states throughout mankind's history. And so thank you for the opportunity. Mel, thank you for pulling me into your office and making it a point for me to take a position on something and make it known. So
Senator, I appreciate you.
Where there's a will, there's a way, and there's two of us, Will. Let's have that coffee.
Yes, sir. Adios. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Adios.
Well, I'm actively trying to recruit Senator Parkinson here to get on board with the statehood task force. And that goes for everybody out there in the listening audience. If there's a political status that you feel good about, that you feel strongly about, that you're ready to advocate for, the status task forces are all volunteers. They each get an equal appropriation annually to help fund their educational campaigns. Unfortunately, those funds cannot be used for payroll, but they do cover the purchasing of their, procurement of their materials, educational materials, everything from banners to brochures, video, television, social media advertisements, anything that helps to educate the wider public so that they can make an informed decision about their preference for political status. And maybe you're not quite sure just yet, but if you are interested in learning more, please contact our office. You can email us at guamcod@guam.gov. And we are on all of the major social media platforms. We'd love to talk to you. We can happily get you in touch with task force representatives so that you can figure out how you can get involved. Maybe you want to volunteer in all of them at one point and then make your decision, that is totally fine. Each one of them has their own organized leadership and member task force member list. You don't have to be an official member of the task force to help out. So I encourage everyone out there to reach out to your task force or reach out to the commission, and we can put you in touch. But the more people who get involved with the conversation, the better off we are as a community, because it is something that is very complex, very difficult to understand, and there's so many layers to this conversation. I want to take a quick break to give Joe Malik a chance to weigh in. I know we're at the top of the hour, but we will pick up where we left off if we don't get to it. Joe Malik, you're on the air with us. Hafide. Hafide, sir, you're on the air with us.
Okay. Always advocate the county. Guam and Hawaii. How many small islands in Hawaii? Honolulu?
How many Chamorros live in Honolulu?
No, how many small islands? Not the big island, the small island.
How many of the islands are Chamorro? None of them.
No, the small island in Hawaii, Honolulu. The big island is Honolulu or Hawaii. I believe there are 72 islands in Honolulu. Hawaii is the big island. And I would rather go as a county for Hawaii, because all our medicine from the VA comes from Hawaii. We have to go Hawaii to get our medication or refill. And another thing, remember the Governor Skinner, the last stable governor, and appointed governor of Guam, Governor Guerrero, Governor Guerrero, Governor Guerrero, that's the youth, Governor Kawu, and then Kamatsu. The Garlic Act, remember, last time the Garlic Act in 1950, the Madras, like Chamorro is a Guam, no, U.S. citizen. Now, if we go back to World War II, how many Madras after Vietnam, after World War II, after come let it go, right after the World War II, we left Chamorro to Guam, no, and how long, and 1950, we passed the Garlic Act, the U.S. Congress. We left Manolo and we taught. And I think it's only proper for us to knock on the door and be a county of Hawaii, not to go all the way into the bedroom. And we make that first step, and then if anything, the U.S. Congress or the U.S. President decides for us to be a state, and instead of going all the way into the bedroom or the living room, we will knock on the door and be a county of Hawaii.
Thank you, Joe, for your comment. I appreciate it. So for our listening audience I just saw a comment in our Instagram live video feed. The viewers on our Instagram cannot pick up the audio from the caller, but essentially the caller was commenting on a favorable view of statehood via integration into the state of Hawaii. And one of the points that our caller made was that that we already use Hawaii as a kind of first point to access veteran care, which is true. I think that's one of the very important points, at least in regard to the statehood option, is that we have a very high rate of enlistment into the U.S. Armed Services in Guam, and a very high number of veterans per capita. The unfortunate reality for our veterans is that though they serve valiantly in the U.S. Armed Services. When veterans retire or they leave military service, many of our veterans do not have access to adequate veteran care, as is their right as a veteran service member. Most people who want to avail themselves, even people who are 100% covered by veteran benefits, if you want to avail yourself of medical care or treatment, you often have to move out to Hawaii or California or another U.S. state. There is no veterans hospital here on Guam. There is a small veterans clinic that has been proven to be insufficient, and it's no knock on the fine folks down at the veterans clinic who work valiantly to address the need. It's just simply not enough resources, not enough expertise, not enough infrastructure in order to provide the service that is due to our veterans. So I think that's it's absolutely a valid point. Veteran care is something that I think a lot of people on Guam focus on, because even if you're not a veteran yourself, you got a friend or a family member who is a veteran who is entitled to that care and that type of support, and it's just virtually impossible to get all of your benefits while you're living in a U.S. territory. And I think that that's one of the the major contributing factors to the brain drain on Guam, in that a lot of our people leave the island not just for better economic opportunities or better educational opportunities, but also for healthcare. And a lot of that community that leaves for healthcare benefits are veterans who are entitled to it. There's a lot of people on Guam who have been acknowledged as deserving of 100% coverage by the VA, but they still can't take advantage of it because there just is no infrastructure here. There are no facilities, no expertise here to provide them with the care that they need.
I understand that completely. One of the reasons I came back home to Guam when I was living stateside was I came back to be a caretaker for my father, who is a 100% disabled veteran.
Right.
And so I have a lot of experience over at the local CBOC, working through the system. And one of the things that was my realization when I was helping my own father was, I'm a pretty young, tech-savvy guy, pretty intelligent, that I could help him through this process. But I was thinking about, what about all the other veterans that don't have family that can help them through this process? How many people are falling through the cracks?
Right.
And then we spent so much time and money flying to Hawaii, flying to Arizona, flying to different areas for his medical treatment, because none of the treatments here were here on Guam.
Right.
And I think that's another big benefit of what statehood could bring here to Guam, is because now that if we become officially, if the United States puts a ring on it, if they put a ring on it, because they ain't ever going to let us go. If they ain't ever going to let us go because we're that military important, put a ring on it, And if they put a ring on it, that means that they could commit to putting things like a proper veterans hospital here on Guam, because it makes the most sense of the world. We have these bases in the Philippines that we have major hospitals in, but we should be having them here in America, in Guam. And I see that as an opportunity for us to drag back some of those VA resources that might be in other places in the Pacific and claw them back here to Guam.
Right. Well, these are all really great points. I want to thank Joe Malik and, of course, Senator Parkinson, former Senator Will Castro. Unfortunately, we do need to take a break. It's at the top of the hour. We'll be right back after the news to continue this conversation. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. You're listening to Challenge the Status Quo on Wave 105.1 FM.
KGUM FM, Agutnia, Guam. The sound of Guam is Wave 105 FM.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. Just in, the National Weather Service has confirmed 2 tornadoes on the ground just to the west of Metro St. Louis and heading towards the city. KMOV TV meteorologist Steve Templeton in St. Louis telling residents,
I need you in your tornado shelter, downstairs in the basement if you have it. If you don't have a basement, lowest level, you want to put yourself away from windows and put as many walls between you and the outside.
This is part of a severe weather system moving across the country. Texas officials say 3 people have been killed in vehicle crashes in a dust storm in the state's panhandle. Northeast of Oklahoma City, near Stillwater, the National Weather Service reported extremely dangerous wildfires and urged some people to evacuate. The Senate votes to avoid a partial government shutdown by passing a bill that funds federal agencies until September. But as CBS's Erica Brown reports, the decision divided Democrats.
Congress has been unable to pass annual appropriations bills. Instead, lawmakers have been relying on short-term extensions like this one.
We're voting on yet another continuing resolution today because last year's Democrat majority pushed off full-year appropriations again and again.
The measure increases defense spending by $6 billion and cuts non-defense spending by about $13 billion. Erica Brown, CBS News, Washington.
SpaceX launches a new crew to the space station to replace 2 stuck astronauts. NASA's Ken Bowersox.
Now we wait another day for Crew 10 to make their way to the space station to join Crew 9 there. They'll hand over for a few days, and then we'll bring Crew 9 back to Earth, and they'll splash down, and we'll get to hear all their stories.
More than 9 months of stories from astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams, who thought they were just going into space for 8 days last June. President Trump visits the Justice Department. It had elements of a victory lap, a pep rally, and an airing of grievances against a department that conducted criminal investigations of him and a department that he now controls. CBS's Scott McFarland says it was a rare sight.
President Trump stood inside the headquarters of the U.S. Justice Department, demonstrating he's now in charge and promised a tougher era of law and order.
Now, as the chief law enforcement officer in our country, I will insist upon and demand full and complete accountability for the wrongs and abuses that have occurred.
Trump attacked former officials and prosecutors at the Department of Justice that he claimed carried out corrupt criminal cases against him.
Cuba has suffered another massive power outage affecting Havana and the country's provinces that has left millions in the dark. The University of Michigan's Index of Consumer Sentiment tumbles. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief. Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Ted Lasso is coming back for another season.
Apple Plus has renewed the series for season 4.
This job you gave me has changed my life.
The American football coach turned soccer coach returns to lead AFC Richmond, even though season 3 had pretty much tied up all the plot lines. In a statement, the show's star and developer Jason Sudeikis says in season 4, the folks at AFC Richmond learn to leap before they look.
Boy, I'd love to curl up on a couch under a weighted blanket, watch You've Got Mail, and devour a box of Snookers.
Michael Wallace, CBS News.
The Iowa Hawkeyes' worst season in 7 years prompts the firing of men's basketball coach Fran McCaffrey, the program's longest tenured coach. The 65-year-old McCaffrey was under contract through 2028 and said last week that he intended to return for a 16th season rather than retire. Athletic director Beth Getz decided a change was in order. Jennifer Kuiper, CBS News.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-230-2777. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-230-2777. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-230-2777. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-230-2777, 800-230-2777, or biglou.com.
Nothing but the best. Wave 105 FM.
Swing into action for the Guam Chamber of Commerce 27th Annual Amateur Golf Tournament. A fun and friendly competition on Wednesday, March 19th at the Onward Talafofo Golf Club. It's a perfect opportunity to enjoy the great outdoors while networking with business leaders and chamber members. Grab your partner and register your two-person team for just $250. Visit the Guam Chamber of Commerce website today or give the chamber team a call at 671-472-6311. Gear up and we'll see you there.
Did you know assistive technology can help make everyday tasks easier? Assistive technology is any device, tool, or software used to help with seeing, hearing, talking, communicating, moving, or learning. Discover the limitless possibilities of assistive technology. Call 671-735-2490 or visit www.gsatcedars.org. Funded by Federal Grant Number 2101 GUCCDF, awarded to the Department of Public Health and Social Services, Division of Children's Wellness, Bureau of Child Care Services.
The views and opinions expressed in this show are that of the show hosts, guests, and callers. They do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the staff and management of Wave 105 FM, Glimpses Media, or any of our partners. As we strive to provide quality, respectful, and engaging content, we welcome you to participate in the conversation. Thank you for tuning in to Wave 105 FM, the sound of Guam. Enjoy the show.
All right. We're back. Welcome back to Challenge the Status Quo. My name is Melvin Wonpat Borja. If you're just tuning in with us, this show is brought to you by the Commission on Decolonization and our friends over at Glimpses and Wave. We're happy to be here. I got Senator Will Parkinson in the studio with us this morning. And we had former Senator Will Castro on the line with us earlier. I want to acknowledge our caller, Joe Malik, for his comments. And I got to apologize to Elwin132, who is one of our viewers on the Instagram feed. She asked a question that we didn't get a chance to cover because we had to go into break, but I wanted to touch base on it now. So we left the last block talking a little bit about veterans care and some of the inequity that our veterans experience being residents of a territory. Senator Parkinson, of course, his father, former Speaker Don Parkinson, was a 100% covered veteran, but was not able to receive care here on island. One of the things that you had mentioned in that conversation was that you were able to get care for your father, but that was only after funding travel to either Hawaii or Arizona or state. And that's one of the things that I think kind of goes unnoticed for a lot of people who are on the outside looking in, is that, yes, you may have 100% coverage, but only if you can manage to make your way out to a place, a state that has the facilities that are capable of providing the care. And so this is one of the unforeseen expenses that a lot of our local community experiences, is that, yeah, they may have 100% coverage and be able to access all of the care at no cost to them. But first they have to figure out how to fund a move to Hawaii or a move to California or Arizona or somewhere in the continental United States that has a veterans hospital where they can avail themselves of that care. Now, Elwin132 asks the question, didn't the current administration cut VA funding? Stateside, there are thousands of homeless veterans. Why would anything change if Guam became a state? So I want to go ahead and give Senator a chance to respond to this question, and we can continue the conversation. If anybody is interested in weighing in, the number is 671-922-1051 or 1052. You can text your comment to the 1051 number on WhatsApp. Senator, would you like to field this question?
Absolutely. No, thank you so much for this question. And so, as somebody who has engaged with the VA system, who has years and years and years of experience with it as a personal caretaker from the user end of it, I can say this. The VA system kept my family out of poverty. It absolutely did. The amount of care my father needed was just on such a scale that if it was not for the VA, we would absolutely be in poverty because of it. And so I will never have a bad thing to say about the VA services. Can they be improved? Absolutely. But it is a valuable resource that myself and my family is greatly thankful for. And here's how I want to, and listen to this too. And the version we're getting, the version that kept my family out of poverty, is a lesser version than what they're getting in the States.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think to be fair, I don't think that the shortcomings of the VA are a product of their unwillingness to provide service. I feel like a lot of the shortcomings of the VA are born out of a lack of resources or a lack of commitment by the federal government to ensure and make good on these promises that they made to so many veterans.
Yeah, and there's a real case that there are profiteers that are messing with the system, trying to get things privatized for their own personal enrichment, that it messes up the VA system. They're introducing unnecessary changes for political and financial reasons, not for care of the veteran reasons.
Right, and I think that's a fair point. I feel like it's just exacerbated on Guam because we have such a high rate of enlistment and a high turnaround of veterans. There are so many veterans on Guam who would normally qualify for anywhere from 50 to 100% coverage by the VA, who simply just don't know how to access the system, don't know how to enroll, and don't know how to get assessed so that they can avail themselves of those services. I think the sad reality is that even when they do pursue it and they are awarded 100% coverage, the access to care is just non-existent. I feel like that's a big part of why there's so much renewed interest by the veterans community in this new hospital effort, is because there is a standing proposal that there will be a wing of the hospital that's dedicated to veteran care that will be the Veterans Hospital. I feel like it's just, we're so far behind. It just baffles me that we're only now having this serious conversation about a veterans hospital in 2025, when so many veterans have since passed. There's so many families out there who have felt this impact directly, where they recognize that their loved one has certain health ailments. A lot of them that are direct impact of their service, their service during their active duty. There are a number of veterans on Guam who are suffering from health ailments that are born out of their exposure to Agent Orange, for example. And so, it's tough, I think, for a lot of our community because it's a very personal issue. But nonetheless, I don't think that the political status conversation in any way is meant to disregard this huge gap in terms of need and service.
Not at all. And actually, that's also one of my reasons for support of statehood, is because I think that statehood would be able to get more resources here to Guam. Because right now, the U.S. does an assessment. Okay, we got a couple access points there through the Philippines, through other places. But with the change of political status, it gives fresh eyes on how they see their assets here on Guam. Right now, there's something like $11 billion worth of military equipment here on Guam.
Right.
So it shows that the U.S. is willing to invest in this region of the world, but that's in military equipment.
Right.
They're investing in the island as an asset, but they're not really investing in the island as a people.
Right, and I think that is the most critical part of the conversation, and I think that that's something that all of the different political status advocates, for whatever status they prefer, most of the advocates that I work with agree with that point, that any improvement into a fully self-governing status is beneficial for us. It's really just a matter of pick your poison. How do you want to do it? How do you want to go about it? What is, they're all different paths to the same end.
Yeah. And, and when my choice for statehood is not made in a vacuum, I have to weigh them against the other options, independence or free association. And so I'm not going to argue against those points because those positions are not here to defend themselves. But I will ask some questions that, don't need to be answered here, but it's questions I want your listeners to ask. It's questions I want your listeners to think about to help frame their perspective.
Right.
So when I think about, the three choices, let's start, I've already explained statehood a little bit from my end. So let me talk about independence. Independence is something that, I loved growing up. But the questions I have to ask regarding independence, and the questions I hope the people at home will ask, is, independence gives us our absolute sovereignty, but how do we protect ourselves from a force like China that would be willing to absorb us in a heartbeat? And then we have practical concerns. What will we do for security? What will we do for a standing economy? And what will we do to express political power in our region when there's these two massive empires on either side of us? And so those are the questions I would have for the independence crowd. How do we handle those things in a meaningful way? And then for the free association, and actually the free association one was actually really interesting because you'd give me some literature to read onto it. And before I'd read it, I'd always heard of free association as kind of the best of both worlds, kind of a hybrid option.
Right.
You get some independence, but you get all these guarantees, places like the FSM or
Right.
Palau
Right.
be a similar or have that political status. But as I did more research into it, I kind of came to the conclusion that there were some problems with free association. And so the problems I saw with them kind of bear my questions, because the way I look at it as this hybrid option, free association is not as independent as independence, but you also don't have the full economic benefits and political benefits of statehood. So okay, so let's look at it from the perspective of somebody who looks at independence primarily. When I look at free association, we have nominal sovereignty and independence, but all the major things that are truly important, security, economic benefits, and political power, are still unilaterally 100% in control of the U.S. government. And in terms of the benefits you're getting, you're definitely not getting as many benefits as you're getting as a state. And not only that, you have to renegotiate those benefits every 20 years. As a father, I got to think about myself. If we were to achieve free association, would I want my daughter and her generation of people having to renegotiate this every 20 years? And we've seen, too, the problems this does, that it still keeps that unilateral influence with the U.S. government. We've seen with freely associated places that when they want to do something that is not in line with what the U.S. government wants, they will just threaten to cut your funding to ensure compliance. We've seen with some of our neighboring islands that when the renegotiation of their agreements came by, they were receiving less money than they had before. Right now, there is a real geopolitical reason to invest in Guam, to invest in the region, because it's in the best interest of the United States. In 20 years, if we have to renegotiate our compact with them, maybe they don't need us as much. Maybe the world looks a little different and they want to give us less money, and I just do not like the uncertainty long term. And so I would ask the I would ask the Free Association people, that the people that are thinking about this, people that are listening, to think about that. You know, if you value independence, does this option really give you the independence you want?
Right.
And if you value security, economic stability, and political power, does this get you what you want? And for me, I saw that as kind of deficient in both. So, you know, I kind of want to echo the sentiment of my colleague Senator Castro here when he was speaking earlier, that after long debate thinking about it, you know, give me integration or give me freedom. You know, put a ring on it or let me go. And you know, we were talking about you know, you're talking about how is this different than like the Heritage Foundation, this idea of statehood that we're doing. Well, the Heritage Foundation, they want to haphazardly and cavalierly slap us together with the CNMI with no consideration of our culture or our differences or respect that we're two different peoples, even though that we share a common ancestry. We're two different islands and we should be treated as such. And so when they're having these discussions about Guam as a state, if we are going to be enter as a state, I want to make sure that Guam enters on its terms. You know, I don't want to enter the union in a forced arranged marriage with Saipan. You know, no disrespect to our cousins over there, but Guam is Guam. You know, I've always been Guam first, and so if we're going to enter the union, I want to do it as Guam, as a solo entity, and if they want to join the union, you know, that's up to them. But like, I want to keep this conversation Guam focused, and so that's why I also did what I did when I did it, because when I heard that they're talking about just slapping this together with another island like it's no big deal, that I just cannot abide that.
Right, and that's the thing that I appreciated most about the, you know, at least the response that I heard directly from the governor in regard to this issue was the focus on the right to self-determination, which I think is we can't have this conversation without starting there first.
Yeah, there's no legitimacy in what we do, with no matter what choice we do, if the people do not have a voice in choosing it.
Right, and I mean, you know, I think the interesting thing about this is that both Guam and the CNMI have historically engaged in this discussion both separately and collectively. You know, there were two different referenda about the issue of reunification. There was one where the people of Guam rejected reunification. There was another where the CNMI did. I mean, I think that that conversation needs to be had first. You know, I think that each island, each nation has a right to determine their political destiny. I think that needs to be respected. And then let us figure it out on our own. You know, I don't think that that's any of the Heritage Foundation's business,
Absolutely
nor
not.
is it the business of Congress, though they may claim sovereignty over both of us. You know, each of us have a clear right to self-determination. I think that each of us should be given the opportunity to weigh in and decide what it is that we want. And if those two preferences align, then we move forward, you know, and who knows? Like, who knows if the CNMI and Guam both say, well, we want to be a state, but we want to integrate and then become a state, or we reunify and then integrate, or maybe they say the opposite. Maybe they say they want to reunify and then become freely associated, reunify and become independent. Maybe they're not interested at all in reunification, which I think we have to respect. That's all in the
negotiation step, right?
Right, absolutely, and that's why I think that the negotiation step is, in my opinion, the most critical. You know, we know for a fact that each one of these statuses qualifies in meeting the standards of a full measure of self-government, and that's what we're after. You know, I think that once we decide on a status and knowing that each one of them provides us with an opportunity for a full measure of self-government, then the question remains, what type of status are we going to have? Because each one of those statuses are not identical to other nations that have them. There's no such thing as an exact match of identical independent nations, nor is there an exact match of freely associated nations nor states. You know, every freely associated nation in Micronesia, FSM, is different than Palau, which is different than the RMI. Even in their negotiation on the renewal of their compacts, you know, the federal government actually kind of forced Micronesia into isolated negotiations. I just found this out like by chance. I was on the plane with one of the workers who was part of the FSM's legal counsel, And at the time, the governor had been pushing the federal government to allow Guam to have a seat in compact renegotiations, even if it's just as an observer. And the reason why she was so high on this thing was because obviously we're the kind of first point of contact for compact migration. And we're the closest port. And so we already have these long-standing issues around compact impact and kind of the short-sightedness of the application of freely associated agreements with our neighbors in Micronesia and how that looks at a local level for us on Guam. And this is no knock or disrespect on any of our citizens who are migrating to Guam from our neighboring islands, but more so about the arrangement that those islands made as sovereign nations with the U.S. government and the exclusion of a Guam perspective, which is, I guess, if I'm kind of taking a step back and putting aside my loyalty and identity as a Guam citizen, and I'm just looking at it objectively, that's the way that you want to negotiate. You want to negotiate sovereign to sovereign. For RMI, as a sovereign nation, they want to negotiate directly with the United States on the terms of their freely associated agreement. But I think that the challenging thing is that the federal government was very unwilling to include Guam in compact renegotiations, even as just an observer. And ironically, all of the compact states were willing to bring Guam in on their side. And so, and I think that that's appropriate. I think that the leadership within Micronesia recognized that we have this deep historical connection with each other that outdates the United States as a nation. We've been connected to each other for thousands of years, and ultimately we're so deep in this relationship that there are third, fourth, fifth generation, Chukis, Palauans who live on Guam, grew up on Guam, are legitimate members of our society, though they are culturally connected to their homeland. Right. And so we know that we have to have friendly relations with each other. We don't want to be pitted against each other.
No, absolutely.
And
not.
I think that that's the thing that I appreciated about the perspective of leadership within Micronesia and also leadership here on Guam, was that we recognized that we wanted to work together. But, Guam as a territory is never going to have that kind of negotiating opportunity, even externally. But if Guam was an independent nation, if Guam was freely associated, if Guam was a state, either one of those statuses, right, would have automatically guaranteed us a role in negotiations of these new compacts. And so, I think that that's the kind of sticking point for me, right, is that we're never going to get the things that we want or the things that we need so long as we remain a territory. It's not built for equity. It's built for control. The United States is able to do whatever they please at the whim of Congress because there is the territorial clause and plenary powers of Congress over territories. I mean, the whole of the Constitution doesn't even apply to citizens in Guam unless they move to one of the 50 states. If you move to one of the 50 states and you give up your residency in Guam, then you can be a full-fledged American citizen, which is very problematic.
So problematic, that we are potentially on the front line of a war that our territory cannot even vote on. States get to vote if we go to war.
Right.
And so there might be a situation that we are front line on a war that we will have no say in.
Right, just like we were the front line of Vietnam, front line in the Korean War, front line in the war in the Middle East. And so, I definitely agree with you there. I think it's very problematic given our extremely high enlistment rates that just dwarf the numbers.
We are certainly an island of patriots, and it's just a travesty that these patriots don't get full-fledged American citizenship.
Oh, I agree. I mean, even in a scenario where, a soldier from Texas is upset because President Trump is declaring war and they didn't vote for President Trump, they still had an opportunity. Their state still has electoral college votes, so their state weighed in. They were able to participate. Maybe their Godzu didn't win, but nonetheless, they had access to that process, right? Which is a very different thing for soldiers in Guam. Soldiers in Guam, it's like you have zero say and you just got to take it, or you just got to take it as it is.
Yeah, because you love your home.
Right. And that is your, for better or for worse, that is your commander in chief. And you don't get an opportunity to elect that commander in chief. I think that is fundamentally flawed. And I think that definitely needs to be addressed. Now, even in regards to veteran care, even the other statuses, I think, have a much better opportunity to avail themselves of benefits. Part of what our neighbors in Micronesia do is they negotiate how their veterans will be handled in regard to their compacts, which I imagine is much improved in the new compact versus the first one. That just their ability to enlist and participate in active duty service is negotiated through their compacts, right? That wasn't just like an automatic thing, something that they had to work out. But so too would an independent relationship. There's nothing that would prevent the independent nation of Guam from engaging in a partnership with the United States that considers, participation in the armed services and consideration for veteran care. But none of that is possible, clearly, as an unincorporated territory. We're always just kind of scraping for the crumbs at the bottom of the bucket, and it just never works out for us. And I think it's clear that this is not just a unique set of circumstances for Guam. It's something that also Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands and the CNMI deal with as non-self-governing territories. So, I appreciate that, this is, for better or for worse, I think that the continuity of this conversation is the most important piece.
Absolutely.
We really need to have these difficult conversations with our community. We need to ask tough questions. Some of these questions we can't answer. Right. I agree. And so if anybody out there is interested, you want to take a deeper dive, obviously we're not going to get through all of the information in a 2-hour conversation, though it is a valiant effort, and I appreciate you, Senator Parkinson, for coming down to have it.
Anytime you want to have me on, have me on the regular. I'm
we
always
absolutely
happy to talk
will,
about it.
And I can tell you right now that we are absolutely interested in participating in town hall discussions. If you are a listener out there and you're wondering how you can get your community involved, we've been doing a lot of outreach in the community. I think the challenge for the Commission on Decolonization is that, we're a three-member team. It's me and 2 staffers. We have a very modest budget. We've invested our resources into creating the educational content. I think where we struggle is getting that content out into the community. So we have studies available for free online and at all of the public libraries. We have them at the mayor's offices, at GCC, at JFK, RFK Library. You can stop by the office and pick them up from us. We run orientations for all the new senators. So every new freshman senator that's coming in, we sit down with their staff and make sure that they're educated on the history, both policy-wise and historically. But access to a larger audience is great for us. So we'll absolutely participate in town hall discussions. I'm hopeful that there are people out there who are interested in getting involved in advocacy and that they'll participate and volunteer with the task forces. The more people that get involved in this conversation, the better. Yeah. I think that this is, I know that politics on Guam is very very family focused, like we still exist in a community where, your grandpa tells you who your Godzu is.
That's right.
And you just say, yes, grandpa, that's who I'm voting for. But, this is an issue that I think each of us has to kind of take it on our own. And I think the difference between this and, your regular run-of-the-mill election is that, we're talking about a long-term commitment. The longest-term commitment that we make in a standard election is 4 years when we vote for governor and lieutenant governor. And those are 4-year terms, sometimes turn into 8-year terms. But this is not one of these things where the term's going to expire.
It will be defining for generations.
Absolutely. And so, even for when I talk to, young folks, I always tell them, have this conversation with your parents. But if you're not of voting age, you need to be telling your parents what you prefer, because you're the one that's going to execute this status to its end.
That is right.
Our elders, bless their souls, and I respect them abundantly But the reality is that, they may have a preference that they will not live to see fully executed. And so I really feel like this is a conversation that the younger generation of Guam needs to really be invested in. They need to think very deeply about their choice, and they need to learn it. They need to learn it as thoroughly as possible, because when we negotiate our final status, the outcome will really depend on the strength of our negotiation, which is why I would really even go a step further and encourage the young people out there to start paying attention to international diplomacy, start paying attention to what it means to be a statesperson, to negotiate at a high level with the United States, because no matter what status we choose, we will ultimately negotiate with the United States to that end.
Yeah, one way or the other, we are going to be negotiating with them.
Right.
And, even down this path of statehood, the negotiation is so fundamentally important, because we don't want to end up like places like Puerto Rico, where they've had multiple referendums,
right.
but then there's no follow-through on the negotiation.
Right.
And because of that lack of follow-through, nothing comes of it,
Right.
And we have a different selling point and value proposition to the United States than these
Absolutely.
other territories do. These other territories, they might say, "Hey, get in line. We were here first," but you are not at the front of you're not the tip of the spear. You're not
Right.
at the front lines of the next war between the two great empires. There are security questions, not just for Guam, but for the U.S. that needs to be answered. And I think that those concerns is a great way to facilitate getting our decolonization concerns to the front of the line,
Right.
regardless of what it is. I see a unique opportunity in history, not just for statehood, but for any of the choices, to really break this era of stagnation that we've been in for the last
Right.
few decades and move into an era of action, into an era of change. And, like I said, I didn't ask to be a leader of any movement or anything, but I do think this is a conversation the community needs to have.
Absolutely.
And so that's why I made the noises that I made, is because I want to start this conversation up again. I want to be an active participant again, because if these conversations by the Heritage Foundation or whoever is having them, I want Guam at the table, period.
Right. And right now, just by default, the Heritage Foundation is putting these ideas out on a much bigger kind of social and media platform than we have.
And for the people listening, the Heritage Foundation is a very powerful think tank that has
Right.
put Supreme Court justices on the bench. Their ideas move the nation in ways that would surprise you. And so if they're talking about a Guam CNMI waiver, this is something to take with a level of seriousness.
I agree. You could argue, some people may argue, well, it's the Heritage Foundation and they're not going to make the decision, it's Congress. But, the Heritage Foundation is formidable, and they clearly have influence over Congress, or at least over certain members of Congress, which is not that different than what it is that the set of cards that we're working with. We may have a delegate to the House of Representatives, but that's a non-voting delegate. So essentially, in principle, our delegate is doing the same kind of work that the Heritage Foundation is doing.
With less resources.
Right. They approach the job in the same way, right? Neither of them have a vote. Even though one has a sexier title, neither of them has a true voice and a vote in Congress. And so in order for them to make something happen in Congress, they are dependent on their ability to lobby with voting members. And so if the Heritage Foundation has all of this influence over certain members of Congress and can help bring them on board as advocates to this end, and we are over here with, working with a single delegate with limited resources, that automatically puts us at a disadvantage. And no one outside of Guam and our people should ever lead the conversation on our political destiny. And so, I appreciate, Senator, that you are, willing to step in to play an active role in the dialogue. I would love to see the other 14 members of the Guam legislature take a stance. And quite frankly, I don't even care where they take their stand.
Just that they take one.
Yeah, that they take one.
Yeah, and I recognize as a non-Samoa person how sensitive this issue is. I could have played it safe. I could have kept my head down and not said anything and let somebody else take the lead.
Right.
But that's not who I am, and that's not what our people of Guam deserve. They deserve to have public leaders that will have the courage to stand up and say the hard things that nobody else wants to say. And even if I got to take the hits for the conversation to start, I'm willing to take the hits.
Yeah, I can empathize. That's kind of where I'm at. That's my every day. I gotta stand up and defend our right to self-determination. And, I got to deal with all the people who say, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I got to convince them that it is broke and does need fixing.
And it's continuing to break even more.
Right. But I think that is kind of, in my opinion, the silver lining of where we are at today, is that we've seen other nations, other territories successfully navigate their way to a fully self-governing status. And then we've seen others unsuccessfully try. Like Puerto Rico, I think was last year, 2 years ago, they were
2022, I believe.
Yeah, they were kind of in the lead in the sense that they had a legitimate effort before Congress to authorize a binding plebiscite, which is something that's unheard of. And honestly, I don't think I kind of feel like it was fated to be defeated in the sense that any referenda that we have around political status will inevitably be non-binding, in the sense that you can't.
Yeah, there's no such thing as
a binding plebiscite, because you can't bind a body that doesn't even exist yet, right? Like if Congress today was to say, yes, we agree and we want to make Guam a state, or Guam freely associated or independent, whatever, it's not going to be fully enacted for a number of years. Right, there still needs to be a transitional period. And so, there's potentially new representatives of Congress, new representatives in the Senate who have yet to be elected that cannot be bound to a decision of the body prior. And so, and no matter what it is that we choose, right, there has to be a negotiation with Congress on how that's going to be executed. But nonetheless, the Puerto Rico was successful in getting their referenda law passed through the lower house. It just didn't pass the upper house. But we're in a situation now, I think, where there's a lot more of an appetite to have the conversation at a federal level, congressional level. And I think no matter what it is that we do, we need to assert the desires and the will of the people. Otherwise, we're always kind of just sitting in this passive position and allowing outside entities like the Heritage Foundation or whichever other, resource-heavy think tank wants to step in and have an opinion about us and decide our destiny for us.
Yeah, and that's just something I really can't abide. One of the things that has been so important to me is just the concept of self-governance.
Right.
Not even from a decolonization, just from a foundational nuts and bolts of what I know about civic life. And so for somebody else to have more say on that over us is just
right.
It makes me so angry on the inside.
I mean, I think it should. I think it should make everybody on Guam, everybody who calls Guam their home, who's invested in this place and plans to raise their family here, I think that all of us should be offended by having this inferior status for the last 127 years. The way I look at it is that the stance that you're taking on self-government, the importance of self-government, is historically appropriate. The Tomoto people have always asserted that they had this deep desire to govern themselves. And this dates all the way back to the Spanish era, from our first experience with colonial rule. We've always wanted to play an active role in the governing of our island and our people. I think it's unfortunate that we waited until the 1970s to finally start electing our first governor. If you ever wonder why the field behind the Guam Museum is called Skinner Plaza and you don't know who Carlton Skinner was, Carlton Skinner was the last naval governor appointed, the last appointed governor. And the reason why Carlton Skinner is so revered by a lot of local people is because he was one of the few, if the only, naval appointed governor who was interested in advocating for local government. He's the one who said, well, we should have, there should be a local Guam Congress. There should be a local election. The Navy admiral shouldn't be serving as an appointed governor. And so the people really respected and appreciated that. But, even in the first Guam Congress, the famous Guam Congress walkout was orchestrated because they realized that it was just a decorative role. it was meaningless. They weren't really being empowered to effectuate policy or have any kind of leadership or say over the governance of the island.
Yeah, it was kabuki theater, really.
It really was. It was just a dog and pony show to say, oh, yeah, see, we gave these guys an election and we gave them a role. But it was still ultimately under the administration of the Navy. And we've come quite a long way since the institution was developed for a policy-making body in the Guam legislature for open and fair elections to the administrative or to the executive branch and, of course, to the judiciary. And so, Guam has time and time again asserted that we are willing, interested, and very capable of running our own local government. But, it's just... It's just hypocritical for the United States to say, yes, we support, freedom and democracy and liberty and justice for all.
But not like that.
Yeah, but not here in the territory. You guys can be, full participating citizens in the U.S. body politic, but only if you give up the homeland. And I think that's, it doesn't take much to connect the dots. The reason why there has not been an appetite for a full measure of self-government here on Guam is because it is advantageous for the federal government to maintain Guam as a territory.
Yeah, status quo is in the best interest of the United States, not in the best interest of Guam.
It's not. And I really believe that any of these status options is the best interest of our people. It's just a matter of how you want to get it done. But if you're one of those that says, well, status quo is not so bad, maybe we can just make improvements, you're playing right into the priorities of the federal government that will never genuinely consider the needs of our community in the way that we do unless we have a viable mechanism for participation. If we're voting on the floor in Congress, if we're voting on the floor in the Senate, if we hold electoral college votes that can genuinely influence the outcome of a presidential election, that changes everything.
Could we whisper of the dream? Like, what if we became a state someday and we had the first Samoru person running for president?
Well, we're on the money already, which is great.
Wouldn't that be something just incredible? Because think about the promise of what America is. Like, we had a person of African American heritage become a president, and once upon a time, those were the slaves of America.
Right.
So it really shows the promise that if we were to become a state, it's a big dream.
Right.
But man, what a dream that would be to have Magalahi of the president of the United States.
Yeah, it'd have to be a few generations out. I mean, just fun fact for all the listeners out there, Guam, though we are considered U.S. citizens, we are considered statutory U.S. citizens, not birthright citizens. And that's part of the deal, becoming a territory, right? And the signing of the Organic Act of Guam, we became U.S. citizens by statute, by the execution of the Organic Act, which is a different thing than a birthright citizen. Now, if you are a statutory citizen, you're not eligible to run for president. You have to be a birthright citizen. So it would have to be a Tamoru that was born like in California or Hawaii or Arizona or wherever. But, I think I only bring this up because I think that this further illustrates the inequity of our territorial status.
Yeah.
Are we Americans or are we not Americans? Are we halfway Americans? You're like a quarter American, maybe like 2/3 American.
I was born in the Philippines and I have full American rights, and
right.
And someone born on Guam doesn't. That's insane to me.
It is. It really is. But I think that's the interesting part of this dialogue, is that the more that you get into the weeds on the conversation of any of these particular statuses, you'll find that there are so many things that we have to question, that we have to work through, that we have to figure out what we really want and prepare ourselves for a full-fledged negotiation. I'm sure that would be on the table in a statehood negotiation. If we were going to transition into a state, we would use that transitionary period, which is traditionally about 10 years. We would use that 10 years to figure out how do we deal with electoral college votes? How do we deal with statutory citizenship versus birthright citizenship? How do we deal with the VA? How do we deal with armed services participation? How do we deal with taxes? How do we deal with the Section 30 money, which was all, a lot of these things were addressed or at least, targeted in your resolution, which I think is appropriate. I think that people really need to have these hard discussions about what all the bells and whistles entail in any of these statuses. And that's the thing that I appreciate is that more. I think that the more that we have task force engagement, more that we have people saying, "Hey, look, you should pick this status over that one."
Yeah.
The better it is for our community, because that's ultimately what they desire. There's a lot of people out there who, on the their kind of knee-jerk reaction is, "Yeah, I already know which status I like," but they still want to see the others.
They still want to hear. They still want to have the conversation. Right. They still need to have that conversation.
They should. Right.
And to the people listening at home, I want you to know that my dedication to this is sincere, and it's not a flash in the pan. I fully intend to follow through with these town halls and to make this a definitive conversation in our community, because it has to happen.
Right.
Like I said, I could have played it safe. I could have just stayed quiet, and I'd be on a fine trajectory. But sometimes you have to sit down and have a hard conversation.
I agree.
And this is some of the hardest conversations we're ever going to have. This is probably a multi-generational discussion that is the biggest our island has ever had. And so we should give it some care. We should give it some consideration, and we should hear other voices. Even if you have a preferred status already, it's important to hear. And so, to the people that have a preferred status, I would ask you not to, when you engage with others, to not judge their positions, but be curious about their position. Right. Ask questions. Let the questions lead us to the natural conclusions, and let's not try to beat any one status over the head over with each other. This isn't some sports team where we're rooting for laundry. Right. This is a real conversation about political status, and we should give it some real consideration, some real thought, and not just pick it because that's my Godzu, right?
Right.
Like be listening, be curious, ask the questions.
Well, I personally think that no matter what status you prefer,
anything's better than this.
Yes, and I also think that each of these statuses play an important role in attaining your preferred status. Like for example, if you are out there and you prefer statehood, I think that your biggest leverage point is independence, because if that's the alternative. If you're taking statehood to Congress and you're saying, hey, this is what Guam wants, our people have voted, we want statehood, and Congress is not willing to admit Guam as a member of the Union, I think that you need to leverage independence. You need to be able to say, look, if you're not going to give us what we're asking for, this is the alternative.
Yep.
And at that point, the landscape changes entirely for the federal government. Them dealing with the transition from territory into state versus territory into independent nation is drastically different. And at that point, they got to reckon with the potential challenges that they will encounter in either of those negotiations. They got to pick their poison too. But I would say the opposite. I would say the same thing in the opposite way. If you prefer independence, and the United States is, we don't know how we want to deal with it. Maybe the people of Guam desire independence, but they still want a continued relationship with the United States.
Yeah, put a ring on it.
Yeah, I think that has to be a part of that negotiation. Same thing with free association, which is why I really appreciate the rise in attention and focus and priority around status conversation. I think it's something that is necessary for our community, but it's also something that all of our leaders need to kind of take stake in. And now's not the time to play, neutral
Coy.
Nancy. Yeah, don't be cute about it.
Yeah,
let's just engage this head on.
Right now, neutrality is not a neutral option.
Right.
If we do nothing, that is not neutral. That plays into the hands of our enemies and those who would have malicious intent against us.
Right.
So we can't stay. We have to break the stagnation. We have to.
Right.
Like regardless of where it goes, I want this to go to statehood. But if it's independence or if it's free association, whatever it comes down, it's better than what we have now, and I will back it 110%.
Oh, I agree. Personally, I'm really excited about that stage. I'd like to get past the referendum stage, and I would love to get to the negotiating part. I think that that's the thing that excites me the most, because then at least we know what our goal is. And at that point, the challenge is just figuring out how do we maneuver in such a way.
And make it happen.
Yes, and I love that that prospect. Anyhow, Senator, I want to thank you for spending 2 hours with us this morning.
Was it 2 hours?
It was.
Man.
It's already been 2 hours, and we are at the top of the hour. We will be back in studio next week, Monday, from 10 to noon. I look forward to seeing all of you there again. Thank you again, Senator, for your time.
Anytime you want me, I'm here.
Everyone out there, have a great day and keep it going. See you next time.
Biba.
GUM-FM, Hagåtña, Guam. The sound of Guam is Wave 105 FM.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. Just in, the National Weather Service has confirmed 2 tornadoes on the ground just to the west of Metro St. Louis and heading towards the city. KMOV TV meteorologist Steve Templeton in St. Louis telling residents,
I need you in your tornado shelter. Downstairs in the basement if you have it. If you don't have a basement, lowest level, you want to put yourself away from windows and put as many walls between you and the outside.
this is part of a severe weather system moving across the country. Texas officials say 3 people have been killed in vehicle crashes in a dust storm in the state's panhandle. Northeast of Oklahoma City, near Stillwater, the National Weather Service reported extremely dangerous wildfires and urged some people to evacuate. The Senate votes to avoid a partial government shutdown by passing a bill that funds federal agencies until September. But as CBS's Erica Brown reports, the decision divided Democrats.
Congress has been unable to pass annual appropriations bills. Instead, lawmakers have been relying on short-term extensions like this one.
We're voting on yet another continuing resolution today because last year's Democrat majority pushed off full-year appropriations again and again.
The measure increases defense spending by $6 billion and cuts non-defense spending by about $13 billion. Erica Brown, CBS News, Washington.
SpaceX launches a new crew to the space station to replace 2 stuck astronauts. NASA's Ken Bowersox.
Now we wait another day for Crew 10 to make their way to the space station to join Crew 9 there. They'll hand over for a few days, and then we'll bring Crew 9 back to Earth, and they'll splash down, and we'll get to hear all their stories.
More than 9 months of stories from astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams, who thought they were just going into space for 8 days last June. President Trump visits the Justice Department. It had elements of a victory lap, a pep rally, and an airing of grievances against a department that conducted criminal investigations of him and a department that he now controls. CBS's Scott McFarland says it was a rare sight.
President Trump stood inside the headquarters of the U.S. Justice Department, demonstrating he's now in charge and promised a tougher era of law and order.
Now, as the chief law enforcement officer in our country, I will insist upon and demand full and complete accountability for the wrongs and abuses that